Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Still Open Podcast. This is the host, Kane, and this is Ace over
What's
here.
going on? What's going on?
Great weekend, man. And, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk what we normally do. We talk sports, politics, relationships. We talk about it all. So here we go. Let's get it popping.
Yes,
Yo, Ace,
sir.
how was the weekend, man?
Pretty fun, pretty wild. Honestly, could have been longer. The weekends can always get longer, but it was pretty chill, man. Just got away, relaxed, hyped out, and yeah, now we back at it, bro. I mean, it's been a minute, but you know what? Had to shapen up, had to do my beard, look all good. You know what I'm saying? For the ladies, what's up? What's up?
Yeah, it was time to
Still
grow it back,
bald,
bro. Yeah.
still bald, but you know.
Can't
Uh,
win them all, right? Can't win them all.
nah, nah, not at all. What about you, man? How was your weekend?
Weekend was good, man. I can't complain. I spent some time just kind of lounging out, did a bunch of major cleaning around the crib, went to the gym, did my stuff. And I've been following this routine now for a couple of weeks, and I'm seeing some pretty good results, man. I started
Really?
doing that Sean T. What's that? The insanity workout.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I've been doing that like for the past, I would say like month now, like 3 weeks, almost a month. And I've lost like 14 pounds.
You lost 14 pounds?
Yeah, bro.
Dude, congrats. That's awesome.
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot,
What are
man.
you at now? 310?
Yo, the way you say you lost 14 pounds, what do you fucking think I am, buddy? You got another thing coming to you, buddy.
I'm just saying, man. You got this big old beard. I want to see how
He
chiseled
was
your
like,
jaw is after that.
you lost foot. No, man, you ain't right for that, bro. All right, I'm gonna get you when I see you. When I see you, we're gonna talk. We're gonna have a nice little conversation.
Damn.
Damn, bro, you a fool,
Just
man.
14.
No, when I started, I was 230, bro. Like 229. 229, I
Okay.
was 230. So now I'm down to about 217 or so. I can't lose too much because Shorty'd be like, what you doing? You
Looking like
can't
a
lose.
twig.
Yeah, you can't lose too much weight, you know? But yeah, I was driving around. I was coming from the gym and I'm listening to Biggie Smalls, I Got a Story to Tell, right?
Love that.
And
Love that.
of course, yo, off the second album, I think that's Life After Death.
Hmm.
That's one of the best albums ever made. What's crazy about the song is in the song, of course, if you know this joint, he's spitting lyrics and it's really like it's one of those most descriptive songs you've ever heard. Like it puts you in his shoes and his situation.
Yes.
And he's talking about how he's at this girl's crib and they doing what they do, they, taking care of shit, right? And then of course, her man, who is, a basketball player, we don't know his name, but it's stated in the verse.
Yeah. Yeah.
As he said, one of them 6'5" looking dudes, I don't know.
Yeah. One of them.
Right. And then and basically he says, your dude comes in, he comes in upset, of course, but Biggie, of course, he's resourceful, comes up with a plot, puts on a ski mask, grabs a pistol, and is like, yo, what's good? Like, give me your money. Like he's there to rob, the house. And it just made me think, like, yo, what would you do if you were ever caught with another dude's girl? Like, what would be your reaction?
Well, my reaction I would just hold my ground, like I'm already caught, right? What am I gonna do? Be a bitch and just wuss out and say I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I slipped.
Right.
I tripped and there I was. No,
It's always a
yeah,
hazard. You never know.
y- right. I mean, am I going in there with the knowledge that she has a man, or I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. If you do or do not, I'm in it. I'm all about it. Now, honestly, I think that I'll stand my ground. I mean, I don't think talking it out's gonna work. I feel like every dude is gonna, think with his fist,
With
and
ego, yeah.
yeah, and it ain't gonna work. And they're gonna think to themselves, "What the hell did I do?"
Yeah.
And that'll be after the fact. I think they're gonna start fighting. So I think, yeah, fight, 1000%. I wouldn't run.
As
I ain't no
Kendrick says,
bitch.
whooping feet. They're gonna be whooping feet,
Hmm. I mean, so okay. So then, who would be wrong? Me doing the cheating with her, or him walking in on us?
I mean, you can't, but yeah, right. He should have stayed out the house. God damn it! You see another car in the driveway.
You weren't supposed to come home till 8 p.m., bro.
You see another car in the driveway. Like, what are you doing? Come on. Like,
What would you do? Wait, what would you do
if I was the
if
one,
you? Okay, let's reverse it. If you were walking in on your chick, getting it on with another man,
I mean, real talk.
your
I
face
think,
said it all.
I think that's a question that a lot of people like have, and I think real talk. Like, I can't get mad at dude. Like, I've been watching a lot of videos lately. Matter of fact, there was an incident that happened not too far away from where I live. In fact, where there's this famous bar called Ringside.
Right?
It's in Jersey City, New Jersey, and it's basically where they show a lot of like Mike Tyson fights, whatever. It's a very popular
Mhm.
bar, right? So this guy actually gets recorded catching his girlfriend in the car with another dude in the back seat of the car. She got tinted windows. It's like a white Kia with black tints, and he catches them
Yo.
having sex. Like, so he pulls up and he's mad, but he's not like belligerent. He's like, "Why are you doing this?" Like, he was just like real. Like, he was almost too emotional. Like, he didn't do anything to the guy. He just was on some stuff like, "Why are you acting like this? And what's happening?" And he actually got in the car with her, and they drove off together. And to me, I'm just
Nah.
like, one, look, maybe she had bomb ass head. Maybe the pussy was incredible. I don't know. But I tell you this, like that's one thing that you will never see me do. Like I am not hopping in the car with the girl that was just taking care of business out here with another dude. I'm not doing that, bro. Not
That's
like
when you know he deserved to be cheated on. So,
yeah, exactly. And my thing is you can't be mad at the guy. You can't be mad at the dude because guys do what guys do. Like we just in it for the quick bag and we out of here.
but
And of
girls are more
course,
emotional. We talked about this in our previous podcast.
right. And ladies, that's not us, just so you know. Like that's not us. That's not how we get that.
If we don't touch him, it ain't cheating.
That's right.
Scratch that.
Yeah. Mike, clip that part up. We're gonna take that out.
Fuck you.
Clip that up.
A
No, no.
17-pound dropping ass motherfucker over here.
But no, real talk. Like that's something I honestly I couldn't get mad at the guy. I couldn't get mad at the guy. I would have to cut him some slack. I would be upset if I knew the guy. Like if it was somebody that I knew and that knew of
Uh-huh.
me and knew that we were together, then yeah, I got to take care of him.
Okay.
I can't let you slide. You got to catch these hands. But if it's the
I hear
dude I
you.
never met before, I can only get mad at her.
I think it all depends on the guy and how he reacts as well, right? If he's more shocked, I'm gonna let him sit in his corner. But if he's
Yeah.
getting up and he's about to get aggressive, I'm gonna lay him out.
Yep.
Then I'm gonna talk to her and be like, "Yo, what the
Yep.
fuck are you doing? You know I
Exactly.
come home at 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you doing it so close to my time?"
And honestly, that brings up another topic of would you like how comfortable are you going to other women's homes as opposed to having them come to you? I was watching a podcast before and they
Okay.
were basically saying that that's why they don't like to go to women's houses because there were a couple incidents as of late where guys just going over there to the girl's house to get a quick smash in and getting killed when they go over there. Like either the man comes home, finds them, kills them, or they get robbed when they go over the girl's house because maybe it's a setup or something like that. And the question is, how safe should you feel going over to a woman's house or going to anyone's house that's not yours? You can control your environment that way.
Yeah. No, I get that. I'm a little cautious when it comes to coming over. Put it this way, I'm feeling a little less cautious if they have roommates and I came over, as opposed to them saying that they live by themselves, because you never know, right? If
Yeah.
I'm in New York and you are working in talent, right? And you're making, roughly 70 to $90,000 a year, and you live over in Gramercy, and you're saying, "Come over, I live alone." I'm thinking to myself, how the hell do you afford that with your
Mhm.
70 to $90,000 a year? There
Right.
has to be someone else that lives with you. And I have almost been caught up a few times, and it was me not knowing that they were in a relationship. I was supposed to go over to someone's place, and yeah, I walk in and I see that there's an extra set of shoes there, and they're pretty big. They're like maybe size 12s, and I'm like, someone lives here other than you, right? Oh, no, no, that's my friends. He sometimes comes over. Turns out she is with someone, and this someone is a police officer, but he's out of the county. So when he's out of county doing his job, he has an extra apartment, and it's upstate, like far upstate New York. But he comes back down every weekend. And yeah, turned out she was lying. I found out just because of social media. Power of social media right there.
Yeah.
Um, it's like,
Yes.
yeah, let me see your Instagram. Like, let's exchange Instagrams. And then I'm noticing a string of the same person that's in her Instagram. And yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I'm more comfortable and confident with them coming over because I can just say, hey, you know what? It's time for you to go. I'm more than open with that. Like, I'm not going to sit back and say, oh man, yeah, I'm about to leave soon. Yeah, I have work soon. Now I'll be like, yo, you got to get out. Like, I'm gonna get dressed. I'm gonna shower. You got to go, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the grown up way to handle it. I think when you're young, you're always like, oh, if that happened to me, I'm knocking him out. Like, well, it's a problem. Like you honestly at
mhm,
times people like, oh, I want to take him out the game, like for good. But you can't move like that these days. And now you realize there's two parties involved. It's her as well. So you have to really be
yep.
able to say, okay, you were the one at fault. And you brought him back to the house? Like you brought him back to your place? Oh, like, that's just a whole other level of, like, disrespect. So, I could see why it's just you're gonna be angry in the moment, and you're gonna wanna do things, but the smart thing to do is have a cooler head and deal with her. Tell my man to get out of here, get out the crib, get out of Dodge, and, I'll address you later, and you mentioned a good point though, which was he was a police officer, right? And that just made me think about people that you date who have certain types of professions, right? Because like
Mhm,
certain people, you think about it, you can have a person who's a police officer, right? And then they're off for a couple days that you don't see them, they're never going to be coming around. And
right.
then then you have some who are always there. So you might choose to date certain people based upon your profession,
Mhm.
or you maybe dated a certain profession and you realize that, yo, this is a bunch of freaks. Or, yo, this is a group of people I need to look out for. Like, have you ever experienced like a type of profession where it's like, okay, I don't want to deal with any more of these types of women?
Yo,
Something tells me maybe you have.
1,000%. I'm gonna I'm gonna give you 2, and then you're probably gonna think one of them is on your mind as well. Number 1, nurse. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. Listen, I have had my share with a few nurses, and let me tell you right now, it is insane how they jump from one person to another. They have a man, and I will meet some of them. I used to work at a hospital, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, let's go out for a drink sometime." And I think to myself, "You married, right?" Like,
Yeah.
"Oh
Yeah.
yeah, my husband's in the military, and he's overseas." I'm thinking to myself, "Yo, you are like
Scandalous.
scandal."
Scandal.
So that and airplane hostess.
Yo, that was both of those things was on my list, man. Come on. How you gonna take both my joints, man? No, what's crazy is you're right. Like, yo, you're right. Stewardesses, like flight attendants, like you said,
I can't believe it.
yo, I can't believe you mentioned both. You know what's another one too though? Teachers.
Teachers.
Teachers. I was very
Ooh,
shocked to learn
okay.
how many teachers like when you were a kid, you always wonder like there might be that one teacher that you have a crush on, and you like, man, she's so
There's a lot of
fun.
teachers I had a crush on, bro. My
You look
God,
at that
I
teacher
was
and
a
you
horny
like,
little
yo,
kid looking at all these teachers like, God damn.
yeah, you're like, man, this woman is fine. Like, I wonder, will she ever date? And it's funny, you look back now, and when I tell you, I've dated a lot of teachers, I've dated some nurses, and I've dated some flight attendants. And when I tell you those three groups, I mean, teachers to me are the most respectable of those groups. And please don't take what we're saying as any old kind of way, but we're basically just saying from our personal experience,
Mhm.
we've seen situations where you just have some super freaky women. In fact, I read an article it was an article and they were talking about the jobs with the most infidelity. Like the people that like have certain
Oh,
jobs, which ones of them like are trustworthy? And come to find out, people in the medical field were at the top of that list. And it was people who are doctors, people who are nurses. And the reason why is because they
okay,
work such arduous schedules. They're all over the place. They're never really home, and it's stressful. And so
okay.
it turns out that a lot of times they say that that's why, because they're so detached from maybe their home that it's just, look, I just want to get something quick. I got to clear my head and I got to get back to work. So I was pretty interested to read that. Like that was very interesting.
I'm gonna tell you something. That's very interesting that you said that, right? They're working a long shift. Now, do you know which shifts of these nurses play a part in these infidelities and crazy sex scandals?
Which ones?
Night
What do
shift.
you think? I was about
Night
to say the
shift.
night shift. Yep.
Not, I mean, I'm telling you, I've heard stories from, yeah, they will go into the elevator that doesn't have a camera and they'll have sexy time there. They'll say, hey, what time are you going to lunch? And they'll go to, a wing that doesn't have anyone present, that doesn't have,
Yeah. Empty
anyone.
hospital rooms. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And they'll do their thing on lunch, on their lunch break. And I've heard this from both nurses and from their spouses. They'll be like, yeah, come into the hospital, around 1 a.m. and let's get our freak on. And then he'll or she'll go back home and they'll continue their work. And I've heard these, bro, and I'm thinking to myself, that is fucking crazy
Yeah.
that you get away with it.
Imagine like sending your girl off to work and you find out that she doesn't even have to leave the job. She can get it popping right there at the job. Like,
That's crazy.
it is crazy when you think about it.
That scares me. That scares me. And yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I mean, okay, so we talked about what professions we wouldn't date. What are the top three that you would?
I mean, that's a hard one. I think that
Or okay, how about this? Top three that you would feel most excited
most
dating.
comfortable. I mean, we're most excited. I mean, I'll be
Yeah,
real with you. I'm always up for any field per se, but I think like I'm an artist, right? So
I
of
was just
course,
gonna
if I
say.
find out, yeah, if I find out somebody's a musician, a gainfully employed musician, or an
Mhm,
artist or something, like not somebody that's a struggling artist, right?
right.
Like that's I'm past that stage in my life. I don't want anybody that's struggling, you know?
But you gotta be selling that shit.
Right. Yeah. No, man. Like things happen to people and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's I don't want anybody that's still trying to figure it out at this stage in the game. You should already have what you want to do in mind. There shouldn't
Yeah,
be any issues. Like nurse,
you're
I
too
mean,
old for
not
that.
about to say
You're
nurses,
too old
but
for that
yeah,
stuff, anyways.
yeah, like artists to me, those are near the top of my list. And to me also, just anyone that is in a top profession, like, just really good at what they do. You're a professional person, you're a consultant, you are a leader in
Mhm.
industry. Those to me are the roles that I tend to look for. And I've actually gotten a chance and the opportunity to date doctors before. I've actually found some very respectable doctors who, like, for instance, I was dating this one doctor
Right.
who was a phrenologist. Like, so she basically took care of young children who had kidney problems, kidney
That's
issues.
awesome. That's
And
awesome.
bro, when I tell you what she would tell me about like these different patients that she would deal with and the things that they were dealing with and how she was able to help them, I was like, wow, that's really amazing. It's really amazing to be able to hear stories like that because it's inspiring and it makes you want to do even better as well. So I think,
Yeah.
fields that inspire you to want to be better, that's also good too.
For the record, doctors are different than nurses for those who are listening. Don't get it twisted.
And now look, don't get me wrong, there are some amazing nurses out there. I mean, amazing.
We know, bro. We
I
know.
think you know what I think the nurses to kind of be wary about are the LPNs, real shit.
Oh, the what?
Not the RNs, but the LPNs. The
LPNs.
LPNs are the ones who they are like kind of right below, like a step below the RNs. Like the RNs basically manage
Oh.
the work. The LPNs are the
Gotcha. No,
ones
no,
who,
gotcha. Yeah,
yeah.
makes sense. Makes
And
sense.
please, if you're doing this, don't take offense. This is just from personal experience. Personal experience.
Yeah, take
So
offense. Do better. The fuck?
because it might be some listener who's like, That's not me. That's not how I am."
That's not me.
But just
Meanwhile, getting
analytically
your back
speaking,
blown out.
it was just 2 times, nah.
It was only once, and I was actually talking to him.
But that you actually brought up, the whole idea, and we talking about that, like, cheating, and we
Mhm.
kinda talked about this before, but do you think it's possible to actually love somebody and continue to cheat? What do you think?
Deep breath. Well, cheating is subjective, right? I'm gonna pull that card a little bit, because you can cheat not just with the physical, but also with the emotional and with the verbal. You know, I have never physically cheated. I have been guilty of feeling lonely at times when I was in past relationships and talking to another female, but I've never gone to the point where I'm engaging physically. So in my mind that wasn't as bad, but now looking at it today I'm like, damn, that was kind of fucked up. Instead of working it with my partner, I instead went to the easy route, right? There's always like the long road and there's a short road, and I should have just took the long road and tried working on it, right? And but to answer your question, yeah, I mean, you can still love them, but you can't be with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can say, I still love you. I cheated, but I still love you. But now I know that I've crossed the line, and you probably won't want to be with me. But people forgive, right?
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
forgive, but they don't forget. And then it's going to be a long road for the rest of your life. Probably thrown in your face 24/7 that you are the cheater. There'll probably be in arguments where you're talking about, who took out the groceries and who needs to take out the groceries. And you'll be like, shut up, you fucking cheater.
Yep.
Remember that time you cheated?
Yep.
Take out the groceries.
I can tell you from experience, and I listen, I'm not perfect. I've done things before that, some of the women in my life would not like to recount. But at the end of the day, it's happened. It's happened, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think sometimes you just got to be honest with yourself and realize, okay, what were the circumstances around it? And you can actually love someone, but you can't be in love with them and cheat. I don't think that's
Okay.
possible. I
Preach.
think that you can care because when you love somebody, you can care about their well being, you can care about their health, right? But when it comes to being in love, when you're in love with somebody, you're strictly focused on that person. Like it is like you don't see anybody else but them. I don't think it's possible to be in love and still cheat. I think that men are very good at being able to compartmentalize. Unfortunately, we can say, listen, I don't
Right.
love you. I can, have sex with you for the moment and literally forget your name the next. I don't
It's
have
because
to
we're
do that.
assholes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, but I think that men are just built with that particular switch. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter who it is. It's just if you are of that mindset and you're not mature enough to manage it, you can definitely fall into that rut of just if you want to give it to me, I'm gonna take it. And I think that that's a problem. I think that it's something that we need to learn because I think when you're young, your kids, your young men, your teenagers, it's always the more the better. Like it's always like, oh, I got this one, I got that one. Like you learn that from the people you're around. And that's not good because it just trains you to look at women as commodities. Trains you to look at them as
Yeah.
just, something you could pick up and put down. And that's not cool. You got to really start thinking more about, okay, how do I affect this person? And what if this person was my daughter? What if this person was my little sister? Or what if this person was, I think once
Yeah.
you start thinking about
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
in that manner, it starts changing the way you start moving.
Hmm. Okay. So then, if someone was next to me, I didn't touch her, but she's all over me, is that still considered cheating?
I mean, listen, it's not really cheating. I mean, listen, I think if you put yourself in that scenario,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
if you put yourself in that scenario knowingly, or if you sat there too long and didn't make a move, yeah, that could be considered cheating. It's like, oh, I got to get up out of here. I got to
I'm
roll.
just playing the fool. I know that is definitely cheating.
I
Is
got to.
having a conversation but not touching cheating to you?
I mean, it depends on the type of conversation. I mean, like it's one thing to be at a bar and you're
Like
talking to someone.
flirtatious,
Yeah,
openly flirtatious, but not deeply sexual, but just openly flirtatious and complimentative and all that, right?
I'm the type of person that jokes around. Like if my girl's going out with her girls and she tells me, "Hey, if I meet somebody," I used to be like, "Yo, if they'll buy you a drink, take the drink." You know what I'm saying? Or like,
Yeah.
that's less money out of your pocket. I'm cool. I'm honestly one of those. I'm very kind of open minded when it comes to some of that stuff. It's only if but I just want them to make sure they are careful in who they choose to do that with. Because some guys, of course, don't know how to do just the drink. It's okay. Well, I bought you a drink. Now, what are you going to do for me? So I think you have to know who to
Okay.
be able to move like that with. You got to have a certain instinct to know who you can actually trust with that. So
Right.
I think certain guys, like I'm not jealous really like that. If you're going out, of course, guys are going to come up to you if you look a certain way. And we've talked about this on the previous
Yep.
pod before, but
Yep.
you have to expect that. It's just what it is. But
Okay. Yeah. I mean, for me, if my woman's going out, I'll be like, yeah, get some free drinks. Flirt if
yeah,
you have to. Like, I'm okay because I trust that it won't go too far.
right.
There will be no contact exchange. That's going too far when you're like, hey, let me get your,
Right. Now, if you're
you know,
exchanging phone numbers, that's a different story, right?
yeah, let me get your phone number. Let me get your Instagram. Do you have a
Mhm.
Facebook?
Yeah. I remember
It's
I
like,
was
no,
talking to
bro. I got a card. Like, fuck off. My fuck off card.
Yep. Yeah, I know some girls, they'll be like, I saw your follower count go up after you went out last night. What's up?
Yo, that's so that's crazy that we talk about that, right? The Instagram versus the phone number, right? So what's your take on that when you're out and you're having a conversation and she would say, oh yeah, let's exchange contacts. What's your Instagram?
I'm
As
actually
opposed to what's your phone
okay
number?
with it. Well, if you're not in a relationship, right? It's cool. I think that, but it's a very quick look into you as a person. Like, I think that's one of the things about IG, which I kind of like, but also don't like, is the fact that once you give it out, they know a lot about you, right? To me, there's nothing wrong with that, too, especially in this age of like Tinder and Hinge and all these types of apps. You find out a lot about a person right away. I think what's cool about IG is that I can look at your profile and be like, okay, yeah, we had a good conversation at dinner or whatever, or at the bar, but I'm not really attracted to it. And you can literally just, you can make a decision right then and there and be
I
like,
don't
oh
like the
yeah,
way your pinky toe look in that picture.
yeah, like you might have had beer goggles that night. You might have been really nice, and then you look and you be like, "Oop,
Shit, you
what was
busted.
I thinking about?" You know,
Okay,
like
but if you're trying to get someone's number and she goes, "Yeah, I can give you my Instagram." Like, how awkward is that? That's happened to me
it's
before
not
where
really
I'm like,
awkward to me. I'll
I
take
don't
it.
know, I don't like that. I don't
Really?
like
Why?
that, man.
What's your issue with that?
My issue with that is, I want to text you, I want to call you. That's my thing. It's like old school, right? And they're like, "Oh, well, we can exchange Instagram, and then I'll just share you my number on a message on Instagram." It's like, why do we have to go through so many steps to get to that phase, right?
I think they
And
want to. They want to see you. They want to see who you are.
yeah,
Quickly
doesn't
because I
happen.
think
Yeah, I
that's
mean, but my shit's private, so
well, yeah, but like right. But at the same time, it's like by the time you give it to them, y'all exchange it. Now they have a view into your world, right? It's like honestly, at some points to me, I look at them as the same. I look at an IG
right.
sharing and a phone number as the same thing. I feel like a phone number is a little bit more personal because I feel like you could just give anybody your IG. Like I know a lot of girls that just will give anybody their IG because they kind of like the
They want
follow
that
account.
follower count.
They dials me up. They like that follow account going up, right?
Oh my god, I got another one. Let's go.
Which to me is so whack. Like who the fuck cares?
But
Like
a lot
why
of
do you
people do.
care?
They will follow. They will like exchange, and then they'll unfollow you to keep their following
Yes.
count low and
Yes.
their followers count high.
That's
Which
right.
I don't know what that is. It's like a sickness.
It
It's
is.
so crazy. I
It
never get that.
is. Yeah,
But then I
it's a
see people with like 8,000 people, following, and 187 people follow back, and I'm like, yo, that's a sickness too. I'm
yeah.
like, well, who are you that people do not want to follow back? That's crazy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's funny how social media makes you start to look at, different people, certain things, like you said, follow accounts. Like, what does your follow account say about you?
Yeah, with me, so people will be like, "Oh my god, you did yoga? Oh my god, you did a handstand off the Brooklyn Bridge. You used to do all this, but it hasn't been updated in years." I'm like, "Yeah, because I haven't posted in years." They'd be
Right.
like, "Oh my god, you have all these followers?" Like I think I have like 2,500 followers, right? They'd be like, "God, are you famous?" I'm like, "That's famous? No,
Right.
that
Right.
was all just actually. You know what? It was actually almost 10,000 followers at one point, but then when I stopped posting,
People
that
start
shit
falling
went down.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know what? It's all good. I mean, like I don't know. I feel like people don't want to do the work, right? They want the easy path. And I want to be more personal. I want to send you that text. I want to have that phone conversation. I like the mystery of getting to know someone as opposed to going on there and being like, okay, let me stalk everything about you. Let me look at all the comments. Let me look at everything and just see if you're my person. I don't know. It's like psycho behavior.
You know what though? That makes me wonder, like, how far back do you go in a person's profile? Because me, I'm not going
Yeah,
back super far. Like, I think I'll go back, maybe like one or two swipes just to see like maybe the most recent posts, and hopefully it's just not a whole lot of memes. I hate that. Like, I hate looking at a girl's page and it's just a bunch
yeah.
of sayings and memes. Then that tells me you're secretive. I don't like that. So
Okay,
I don't like to follow people who have that type of page. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like it.
I hear you.
Now listen, could they be completely well balanced and doing their things the right way? Yes, they could. But I just know for me, it's a little bit of a put off. It's like you don't have
I
no
like
pictures of yourself. Why?
Yeah, and it's like of everything else but yourself.
Right.
I hear you. And I just thought about something because I was maybe around 25 at this point, and I'm at the bar talking to this chick, beautiful, blonde hair, blue eyes, like gorgeous, gorgeous lady. Get her number. She gives me her Instagram. So I got both. Cool. Two for one. I'm feeling good. I'm at the bar with some of the boys, and I'm looking at her Instagram right there and then because I'm like, fuck it, why not? Right? They're like, oh, go on Instagram. I'm like, all right, whatever, let's do it. Bikini pictures, work pictures, family, and I'm like, oh wow. So we start just scrolling all the way down, right? And to your point, you're like, who goes all the way back? And we're like looking at from the very beginning. She was around my age, so it starts showing pictures when she was in high school, and she has a swastika shirt on.
Are you serious, bro?
I'm not even kidding you. I'm not even kidding you.
Wow.
It was a
Wow.
swastika shirt, and it was a Halloween party, and you got like Ku Klux Klan in the back with the pointy hats and everything. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "What the fuck? That is crazy!" I'm telling you, man. Sometimes it's good to go a little back to see how crazy a motherfucker was before, and who they're trying to be now.
Yes.
The crazy from back then doesn't go away.
You know what? That is a valid point, my brother. And I think that it is good to be able to kind of go further back. Like for me, I think it depends on what I see. in those first couple like pages. Like if I
Mhm.
don't get a full picture of who you are, then I will go a little bit further. Like I'll keep digging and dig, until I find something. But like you said, like you have to be able to look a little bit deeper and do some digging, become a detective a little bit, understand who
Yeah,
they
I
are.
mean, sometimes you gotta do it, right? And, you know, some people are new school, some people are old school, right? And
Yeah.
the new school wants to go through the Instagram, the old school is like, "Just give me a number, I ain't dealing with all that bullshit," right?
Mhm.
But then there's that huge age gap. So with the age gap, what do you think is an appropriate number for age gap between, man and woman? Let's say the man's older and then the woman's older, because I know sometimes it's a little different depending on the sex, right?
I agree. I
So
think most women want to date older guys.
mhm,
They feel older guys are a lot more mature, which I hear all the time. But for me, I can't date too much younger than me because I just don't find that there's a whole lot of development there. Like I've been at the bar and I've had a 23-year-old kind of come up to me, and I'm just like, girl, if you don't go that way, like, go ahead.
I'm not gonna pull a Leonardo DiCaprio on her.
Yeah, like
How old you is?
right. Like we're talking and I'm just sitting there and then she tells me, I'm like, how old are you? She's like, I'm 23. And I was like, oh my God. Like, girl, keep moving, please. Please. Like I just felt so crazy. And then one time I'm somewhere and this woman comes up to me, we start talking, and my boy tells me, he's like, yo, she's like a little bit old. 21. What? Like that's crazy. So I just said no, I can't because it's just you feel like you're taking advantage at a certain point. Like because we're so far along and so much more experienced in certain things, we have a cheat code, especially
Right,
when it comes to dealing with younger women, because there's a lot of things that they just are oblivious to. And
right.
I think that the wrong men can take advantage of that. So I typically don't like to date too young. Like maybe I would say the youngest I will date is maybe 5 years, maybe six younger than me. That's typically where I draw the line. What about you?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, being my age now, right? 34 and older, I can do 12 years, right? Like that's not bad. I can do a little more depending on, if they're active and if they're still,
Taking care of themselves. Yeah.
doing all the things right. Yeah. Younger though, it's so hard because they're everywhere. I was everywhere in my 20s. I mean, having a conversation full on while you're texting someone about something else, having a different conversation on there while ordering your cup of coffee. I mean, that's like it's crazy, right? But they can do that. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, just focus on me. And they have a hard time focusing. They
Yeah.
have a hard time focusing on just one thing and they get bored easily. I'm bored. I'm tired. It's like, okay,
Like, what do you want to do
what are we
now?
gonna do? Let's do something. And man, are you a kid, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I can't get any younger than 27, 28. Like you have to have something going for you, right? At that point, you should probably have a good job and doing your thing. But again, it's all about the personality as well. But if you're like 26 and below, that's just too much, right? Um,
Yeah, because to me, it's like
so
you
I
haven't lived. You can't really have you can't talk about certain things with them. I
right,
can't talk to you about what it's like to apply for a certain type of loan or credit card or like just certain thing. Like we cannot
yeah,
talk. We cannot
right.
share an experience.
Be
And
like, what's that?
right, the only thing they care about is a pliable or like some like
I want
having
a
a
cosmopolitan. What the?
like it's
So
crazy.
that's wild. Now get this scenario because I just heard about this last week, right? Now, imagine there's, a kid who's just about to go into his senior year in high school, right? And this kid is friends with, a group of other kids, and one of them's a girl who's going to be an eighth grader, right? They're both under 18, and he's a senior. He's going to be a senior. She's going to be an eighth grader. Do you think that's appropriate today? Because the reason why I'm telling you this because someone told me about this not too long ago, and I thought to myself, that is wrong.
I just had
This
that
kid,
conversation. I swear to you, literally yesterday.
that's crazy.
I was talking to one of my friends and we were just talking about the fact that sometimes when you're dating younger people, like in high school, like I was a junior, I think, and I had quickly talked with a freshman. Like, this girl came in. I felt so wrong doing it. Like, now mind
Hmm.
you, she was only 2 years younger than me, but at the time I was just like, I don't like it. So I wound up just cutting
Yeah.
it off with her. And then you got guys that are seniors talking to juniors or talking to eighth graders. And to me, that's predatory as well. I don't like that. That's nasty.
Absolutely.
That's nasty. And then that's not even talking about the guys that drive around the high schools, looking for younger girls. Like that's a whole
So
you're
gross.
definitely pedophile. Like at that point, you're just bugging. Like stay away.
Okay,
Stay
Drake.
away. I don't like that. Okay. That was a good one, bro. That was a good one. You snuck that right on there, man. Good job. That was a
I,
good one. But yeah, I don't
I'm
like that.
telling
I
you,
think that
it's
you got to
wild.
stay away from that type of behavior. I think if you can do that when you're in high school, you'll do that when you're an adult. I don't like it.
Yeah, you about to be a senior. You're going to graduate in a year. This girl is about to be an eighth grader, still in middle school. You're conditioning this person. You're conditioning this innocent person, and it could be vice versa. It could be a girl's going to be a senior, and this boy is going to be an eighth grader. He doesn't have any experience. You might have some experience now because you're in high school, and these kids are freaky asses, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Like it's just wow. And you've been hearing about it. You've been reading about it, saying that kids are pregnant going into their freshman year and shit like that. And
That's true.
yeah, you have to think about these things. Just like, yeah, this girl is uh, very fresh, very green, doesn't know anything. I was talking to a friend. They were like, "Yeah, it's her first time really dating somebody." And I'm thinking to myself, that is so wrong.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a freshman in college when she's gonna be a freshman in high school.
And at that
That's
point what he's
crazy.
thinking about. At that point he's not he's thinking, "Yo, I'm trying to get this girl." Like,
Selfish.
yes, it's just all about, and that's why you have to be so aware of what's going on at school, man. You have to be. You can't let that stuff slide. And they might get upset with you and say, "Well, why are you like this? Why are you so strict?" And what? Because we already know what that means. These guys are nasty. They're animals, especially at that
Yeah,
age. High school senior. You're going off to college. You're just trying
crazy.
to, yeah, you're just trying to take advantage, and that's not cool to me. But that whole debate
Yeah.
about how young you date. There was another debate. I'm not sure if you know about this or not, but Jim Jones, the rapper, right? He was talking about how
Mhm.
he feels he's better than Nas. And there was
Uh,
a kid that
okay.
actually they had on TikTok or IG, and he was like, "Yeah, my generation thinks Jim Jones is the best. Like nobody beats him. He's better than Nas. He's this and that." And the guy is like, there's older guys on this podcast too. And they're like, "But have you heard any of the songs?" He's like, "We don't even listen to Nas. We don't even listen to Nas like that." And it's like,
Word.
yeah. And he's like, "But we know all the Jim Jones songs. We know he's changed the game in fashion, this, that, and the third." And it's just like, wow. Like, imagine having a conversation with somebody that young. And we come from the era we come from, talking about Nas and Jay-Z, and they barely even heard their music. They don't see the relativity in their music. And it just, I heard that conversation, and I tell you, I was disgusted because yes, when you young, if you were born in 2005, right? Which is crazy to think about. A person born in 2005 is 20 years old. You think about it. That is wild. That is really
I
wild.
don't understand where they have the audacity or the fucking balls to even talk this shit. Like Nas is a fucking artist. I mean,
Oh,
he
he's the
is
GOAT.
beyond an
He's a
artist.
GOAT. He
He's
is
so
literally a GOAT.
poetic, man,
Yeah.
and people don't know that his stories have stories. Like there is such a lore when it comes to his music, and you're
Yeah.
gonna just drop that shit in there because you want to have clickbait. I think it's all just clickbait.
It is. It is. And that's what he said. Later on, Jim Jones actually said, "I'm just doing this to go viral. Like, I'm only doing this because I know it'll drive up streams and whatever the case might be." But to me, you cheapen the conversation about artistry, at a certain point. Like, how could you even honestly put yourself in the same class with the
Yeah,
nods, and it just makes you think, like, that whole old versus young. How do our older generation see us? So, for instance, you think about the Big Daddy Kane era and LL
mhm,
Cool J, right? During that era when they were popping, like, and then you go from that era to Jay Z, Ja Rule, DMX, right? Like
right,
that's the era that I grew up in. That I was coming off that Big Daddy Kane, LL Cool J into that Jay Z, Ja Rule, and I feel like we still have respect for all of those guys. We have respect
right.
for everybody. We didn't look at them and say, "Oh man, they old, they watched them." No, or Rakim, right? Like Rakim
That,
was
that,
the
that was
top
in
of the
that time.
yeah,
It's all evolving. Like
yeah,
go back in the day, they had a certain certain shit happening with politics, with people of color, being oppressed, and you go into gang and violence and drugs were just going wild.
everything.
I mean,
Yeah,
you have all that. Now you get into a different. area where, you don't hear much of that. Now you see it softening a little bit. Rap is softening. It's not as hard as it used to be, not as raw, not
It's more
as
pop now. Yeah.
intense. Yeah, yeah, it's pop, right? It's not even you hardly get rap now.
Mm.
And you don't hear about how someone is gonna break into your place and, shoot up the place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're not hearing these things because, you know, I, I think people are afraid that their music is going to work against them, right? Because then you have people like Jello Ball who is talking about how he's from the streets and how he's doing this and how he's on the come up, and people are looking at him like, dude, you lived well.
Right.
You were never on the streets. You were never a part of any type of clique, any hood. Like, you're saying all these things because you knew that that's what the listener wants to hear,
Yeah.
but that's not your life,
Even John
right?
Morant, the same with him. Like, he was a super hard guy, player. And they're like, man, you grew up in the burbs. Get out of here. Like, what are you
Mhm.
doing? Like, it's the same. It's that
It's
same thing.
crazy, and people wanna look different just to, feed off of what the people want to see and what they want to hear, right?
Yeah.
But then you get some of these people that are coming up from Chicago. So the Chicago boys are crazy, man, and you got all them doing their thing, that raw music and talking about violence, talking about what they've done. They doing that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're doing that shit, but then that could be used in court and that can be used against
Exactly.
you. And so now
Exactly.
we're in this era of like, man, if you say something that's real and there's an active case, then you're fucked.
And that's one of the stupidest things I've seen as of late, where these artists, these rappers are using real things that have happened and basically incriminating themselves. Like, you telling the whole story, like where you were,
Yeah.
when you did it, who you did it to, why you did it. And it's just asinine. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Just,
Mhm.
stay away from it. One, get off the streets if you're an artist
Right.
now. And
Right.
two, don't go recounting your old stories from back in the day. Everybody wants to be a tough guy. Everybody wants to be known as something. It's at the end of the day, it doesn't really help you. And yeah, I think that's one of the few things about hip hop, where hip hop is really about the genuineness of your story. And you could
Right.
be a pop artist, and somebody could write a song for you, and y'all kill the song. There's 10 writers, 10 producers on the song. Everybody gets a cut. Y'all don't care, right? Or R&B, even for that instance, for that case. You could be any of those fields besides hip hop, and it's cool. Like, you don't. Who cares who wrote the song for you outside of that? But when you get into
Yeah.
hip hop, it's like, but did you really live it though? That's why everybody loved 50 Cent when he
Facts.
first came out. That's why everybody loved Jay-Z. It's like 50 got shot 9 times. It's got to be real, So all that built into his mystique as this tough guy, right? Oh man, he really went through it. Or Game, right? Same with the Game. So I think, unfortunately, hip hop is one of those few fields where you actually have to live the life to be able to talk.
And with rap, I think back in the day, when someone did pass on or shit did happen, there was a lot more respect towards that rapper, right? There was more class.
Yeah.
But then someone talking about the Chicago boys, you got King Von, right? When he passed away, what happened to him? They jacked all of his shit. They ransacked his stuff. They didn't celebrate him. They didn't mourn him, right? They just fucking got his shit, early release stuff, sold that, got his jacket that was worth, mad money, his jewelry, his money. That's it.
And
And that was his fam. That was his close friends. That's his fam, his sister. Boom. Just there was no love there. And I think that's the difference between back in the day and now.
yeah,
They can just mass produce, a face for the music and say, you know what, you look like the perfect fit. We want you. Back in the day, they're like, nah, I am the fucking fit, right? Like you would never see someone like Biggie in today's day and age,
yeah,
right? If he did what he did back then, now he wouldn't fit the narrative of what everyone else is doing, right? And it's
right,
it's crazy.
correct. And you wonder if these artists were still around, like if Big was still here, if Pac was still here, would they hold them with the same level of reverence that they do, that they should? Like what they hold it with. Because you look at the Big Daddy Kanes, the Rakims, they've given a lot of love from the generations us and older, right? But below that, it's like they don't even know who they are. They don't even know who they are. So I
Mhm.
think it's just about making sure we continue to pass that legacy of hip hop, of real music, making sure the younger kids hear it, because there's kids that just were hearing. I saw this video. They just heard one of Nas's songs, and I think it was New York
Just
State of
heard,
Mind.
man.
New York State
That's
of
a
Mind.
crime.
Yeah, they just heard
Yep.
New York State of Mind, and they were sitting there, and they like, "Yo." dude was spitting bars. And mind you, the first time they ever heard the song, they're like 23, 25. When I tell you their
That's
minds was
wild.
blown,
That's wild.
minds were blown. And so I think that it's our responsibility, especially, in hip hop, you have to continue to keep that moving forward. You got to pass that along because people will forget. You get further and further away, generations forget.
I hear that, man, and it's
Yeah.
wild, and I feel like there's too much passion in trying to fit a narrative as opposed to someone breaking the narrative and coming up with their own shit, right? I
Yeah.
think they're just plants now. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of that I believe is getting watered down a little bit. I
Mhm.
think it's become more about because people know now you can get into hip hop or get into music as a stepping stone. Because people know you
Mhm.
don't really get paid in music now. Music is really just a grift. They take all the money from you as an artist. So really, the only thing you can do is build a name for yourself and hopefully get some brand deals. Start getting some, movies where you can get into a movie or something like that. But a lot of these kids know it's not even going to make me any money to be in rap. I might as well, or be in music in general. I might as well just create a name for myself and try to branch off into something.
One hit wonder.
Yeah, but there's some guys that are one hit wonders that I know full well. They wish their life was different. Like for instance, you know that song, "Never Gonna Give You Up, Never Gonna
Yeah,
Let You Down," right?
yeah,
It's a dope song. We still listen to it to this day, but I guarantee he hates being known for just that one song.
really.
Like, yeah, when you're an artist and you do music, you don't ever want to just be known for one thing.
Okay.
You don't ever want to, like, for instance, you think about Carlton from the Fresh Prince, right? Some people are so good at what they did
Okay.
that they get typecast, and now you can't get anything else outside of that. Yeah, like to this day, classic. He's a classic character, but he hates the fact that everybody knows him for just that. Like he's a really good actor. He's a dancer. He does all these things, but he can't get out of that rut.
Hmm.
He can't get out of that space, that square, and then that's
That's pretty shitty.
yeah, And so you think about these artists, it's one of those things where you try your best to do a role well, but not so well where people can't see you doing anything else.
Mm.
But I think that when it comes to hip hop in general, it's brought about different types of artists now, different type of people. Like I don't know if you've heard about that guy, Ron Mamdani from New York, the mayor, or the
Yo,
mayor
yeah,
elect. I'm saying mayor elect. No, guys, he just won the primary,
yep,
the Democratic mayoral primary, and he's of the era of hip hop, right? His mother's actually she actually made the movie in Mississippi Masala. She directed that movie years ago. I found it out recently over the weekend. I thought that was pretty dope.
mhm.
But he's a young kid, 33 years old, fresh vision. He calls himself a democratic socialist. And of course, when you use those terms, what happens? Republicans come out. They come out like zombies out the woodwork, start talking all this stuff about his terrorists coming back to New York City. Then they showed today I was on Twitter and they show a bunch of people praying, a bunch of Muslims praying in New York. And they're like, is this what you want to go back to New York? Is this what you want? And it's just so nasty and diabolical. Like, why do you have to
Mhm.
try to, fearmonger? And one person was like, I'm more apt to want to be around 200 Muslims than to be around one white Christian nationalist.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, it makes sense. But I really like his policies. I like the way he's going. Is some of this stuff harder to attain and accomplish? Yeah, but I like somebody that's actually thinking big instead of just thinking about the status quo.
I think Mamdani is really trying to convince people that he can change things for the better. I feel as if he could have done these different changes when he was the housing counselor, and
Much you could do though when you're one person. Like, what can you do?
well, he was a part of this group that could help push things forward and propel them for completion. And all that. I think it was Eric Adams who called him out and said, when you were in this position, you had the power to do the changes that you're talking about now, to push them forward, not complete them, but to push them forward and to, say, hey, you know what, this is what we can do. But you waited to this time to do it when you could have done it back then. And he's trying to create this narrative that he
Yeah,
is trying to get
to
um,
get votes.
he's trying to get the votes, trying to get people to see that he's the good guy, right? But Eric Adams, man, he's going after him,
I
and
mean, he has no choice. He's
people,
fighting for his life right
oh my god, I mean, he got it off the table, right? People are saying that he made a deal with Trump, and basically, you know what? If I win this, then I'm going to be pretty much at your beck and call,
Right.
right?
Pretty much.
And people believe that, and I think I kind of believe it too. I'm not going to be real.
I do
He had
too.
some pretty crazy charges against him, and that all got dropped.
Yeah.
And I think that Mamdani, what he's doing is really setting the pace. He's young, he's full of vigor. I don't think he has a lot of experience, but then again, it's like who needs experience, man? We need someone to go in there and just get it done. Like
Right.
we've had countless of people that had the experience, but now we have someone who has the vigor, who is wanting to go out there and just punch it right in the face and say, "Let me get these things done for you."
Yeah.
That seems kind of refreshing,
Yeah, you need
right?
people with fresh ideas, just fresh ways of doing things. The status quo has gotten us nowhere. Like you look in New York City right now, or any major city, prices for everything keep going up. Like people are upset because he's talking about, wanting to have city ran food centers or, supermarkets. No, that's not, even though it'll be hard to do. It's
Mm,
something that like people realize I'm paying all this money for groceries just to live. I'm paying all this money to travel throughout the city. It's expensive, and so what are the ways around that besides increasing their salaries? You have to figure out other ways to get people the money that they need or get people the food they need. Like in this country, the richest country in the world, the most advanced country in the world, you mean to tell me a person should have to decide between eating and maybe getting a full tank of gas? Like that should not be a thing.
that is wild.
It should not be a thing. And I think, unfortunately, we've gotten kind of used to that, where it's like, oh, well, things are getting tough right now. I got to scrap a little bit to be able to eat. It's slowly eating away at our drive to want better for ourselves.
Yeah, he looks like someone who's going to give the middle finger to anybody who says otherwise when it comes to supporting, New York and its people.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you need people like that who are willing to stand up. And I was watching this interview, and this famous historian, his name is Mark Meacham. He's been on like Morning Joe a couple of times, and he mentioned the fact that the pendulum always swings from one direction to the next in these political cycles. So, for instance, how we got Obama is swung all the way to Trump, right? And we went from real nice upstanding guy to Trump, a
Yep.
you know, complete opposite. Let me just say that. And
Yeah.
then, so he actually said he could see from a President Trump going to a President AOC because he said the pendulum doesn't swing back to the middle. When it swings from one side,
Okay.
it swings right back to the opposite. And so he said he could see how someone with that mindset, it doesn't have to be her, but someone with that opposite mindset of
By
no.
the way, for the record, she's fine as hell.
Yeah, I've
She,
always liked AOC. AOC is
she
fine.
is so
And
fine,
she's
bro.
intelligent too. She's intelligent, she's well
No doubt.
spoken, she's fiery. I like that about her, man. For all those people that hate on her, I don't know why. I really don't know why. And of course, they always, unfortunately, it's those old white dudes who have something to say about her. They just don't like women of color who are standing up. I really find that that's the issue. They hate it. They really hate it.
Yeah. I mean, people are always going to find things to hate, right, about another person, whether it be color, whether it be the way that you look, the way that you smile, the way
Yeah.
that you walk. There's always going to be haters, man. Like,
Always.
whatever.
It's unfortunate because again, you go off the merits of the person. Don't go off of what they look like to you or what their last name is. Who cares? And that's why I don't like the way they're treating Mamdani. It's like, look, yes,
Mm,
he's Muslim, right? Like, yes, he is a person of Middle Eastern descent. So what? You think that
right.
because that person comes in now, the city's gonna go downhill? All these billionaires and millionaires are gonna leave New York City? They're not going anywhere. Let's be real.
Nope.
They're talking about,
It's New
"Oh,
York,
we're
bro.
gonna leave." You're not going anywhere. New York is
You
the
can leave LA,
capital. Yeah,
but you can't leave New York.
right. New York is the financial capital of the world. You're not going anywhere.
Facts.
Let's be real.
No, you're gonna
So
sit your fucking ass in your chair and you're gonna like it.
exactly, and I think that debate about him and his ties with, like you said, people feel like he's supporting Hamas or talking about Israel. I think his thing is he doesn't like Zionists, which I can understand, right?
Yeah.
Because he's basically like, and this brings us back to the whole idea of Israel and their attack on Iran and what they're
Oh
doing
my
over
god.
there. And it's like they're pushing the boundaries so far on what should be done. Like, why are you pushing so hard? And it just shows they're like, hey, I got Big Brother behind me, I got the United States here. we're gonna do whatever we want to do. We're gonna bomb Iran, bomb Palestine. We're gonna do all these things, and the U.S. isn't going to step in. That's what they're saying. Anyway. But I think
Well,
that
they bombed their nuclear site, right? So I
yeah.
mean, and then they responded back by bombing their base, but gave them warning ahead of
Well,
time
really, the
so they could
U.S. the
evacuate.
U.S. bomb. And I think that once now we are actually in the throes of war, we're getting involved in this war. We have to understand, first of all, I don't want no beef with Iran. Like I've been seeing a lot of posts online. They're like,
Nope.
listen, we don't want no smoke. That was them over there, in Washington. We don't want any problems with you guys. And I understand that. People are making decisions for an entire country. Like they said that the day he bombed them, they brought the plane, like the plane in that can get him out in an emergency. So if you've ever
Hmm.
seen Paradise, you know how it goes, right? Like they basically have the presidential plane waiting there just in case they need to hurry up and get out of here. But yet all of us would have to suffer because of a decision he made, right? So
I'm telling you,
it's
the president
man.
has too much power, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the Supreme Court is giving him more and more every day.
Oh, that's right, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Hey, all you other courts, like, hey, you guys don't do
Bro.
shit. You guys
Right.
are fucking done. Yo,
I
done.
was just talking with a coworker, and everything that Trump is able to do, it just goes to show the laws were not strong enough to stop him, right? And the reason why is because the founders, they never just really thought anybody would be this morally corrupt. Like
Right.
they didn't think that there would be a group of people in every branch. If you think about it, not just the presidential branch, but the legislative branch, right? So Congress and then the judicial. You've got all of these parties now working together to help each other, and they're literally saying, "We'll give up some power so you can have more power." Like that's really what's happening. That is legit what's happening, and it's
I
disgusting.
wonder what it is. There has to be some type of quid pro quo, right? Like I'm giving up something for us to gain something. What I wonder what that
You
is.
know what it
There has
is?
to be.
They all come
What?
from the Heritage Foundation. For instance, a lot of the judges, and this is one thing about the Republicans. I can say that I have some level of respect for is the fact that when they have a goal, they will chase that goal down no matter how long it takes. So, for instance, the
Hmm.
Heritage Foundation, if you could look this up real quick, I'm not sure when they were founded, but I know this lawyer, I think it was Leonard Leo. He started the Heritage Foundation maybe 30, 40 years ago. Once he thought in his mind that we were going too far to the left.
1973.
23, bro. And
That's
the
crazy.
goal was they knew that they wanted to get more judges on the bench. Knew they wanted to make sure that the Supreme Court could stay conservative. They were doing all these things to get back the idea of Roe versus Wade, right? They wanted to overturn Roe versus Wade, and they
They got that
wanted
done.
yeah. And so they were singularly focused on getting this done. Think about that. That's 40 years of just waiting. They're like, yo, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. 40 years. Meanwhile, the Democrats, they just like, oh, we love everybody and we're just going to figure things out in the moment. And you got the Republicans, they've been planning this out for decades, decades. Like that's true chess. And I hate the fact that it was them and not us because really, I hate it, bro. And honestly, I'm an independent. I shouldn't say us, but I hate the fact that they have been able to just own the conversation for the past few years, man. They're literally dominating. And there's nothing we can do. We can literally only watch. We can only watch. There's nothing we could do.
I mean, listen, shit happens, bro. Plain and simple. I mean,
That's what it is.
people play the long game. Some people play the short game. I think that if the Dems need to step it up, they should probably become a little more cutthroat, become a little more aggressive,
That's
become
what I said.
less happy go lucky, and say, you know what, I'm gonna take the gloves off, right? Play on their field.
Yes.
But it's like this good versus bad. It's always movies that the good guys don't have all the great things, but the bad guys have all the fucking fun toys.
Yep.
You know, and think about Star Wars, right? Like, yeah, you got the Republic, right?
Got the
You got
Death Star,
yeah,
baby.
you have a good city. You have worlds that are just working together. They're democratic, and you got this big old fucking planet Death Star that's coming down and destroying your shit one by one, one by one. And they have their own little world in the Death Star. They have fucking greenery. They have air. They have the sky. They have cool. We
Bro,
make our own planet, but it can kill yours. That's the difference.
you're
Cool,
absolutely right. And I think
cool.
that just that level of diabolical thinking, right? It's really diabolical. Like you could be able to
Yeah.
say, I don't care who else has what. For instance, that new bill that they just signed in the Senate.
Hmm.
Um, there were a bunch of Republicans who were not going to sign this bill because they were saying, it's too harsh. So guess who winds up, of course, signing the bill? Collins, Murkowski. Murkowski actually signed the bill or went along with it because Alaska will be able to get written out of all the things that they're planning to do. Just Alaska. Just Alaska. So she was like, okay, well, you're going to make sure that we can be exempted from some of the Medicaid cuts, Medicare cuts, whatever the case might be. And they made sure only Alaska was cut out of that legislative package. So that's what made her sign off on it. So fuck all the 49 other states.
What the fuck? Who the fuck wants to be in Alaska, bro? What?
Right. And it's just the level of corruption, like Democrats, and you think about Al Franken, right? You remember Al Franken,
Yes.
he was such a good guy, like, but of course Democrats are so purist that it's like, oh no, we can't have anybody that has any type of scandal. They gotta go. They gotta go, and you can respect that to a degree, but it's unfortunate because now we wind up eating our own, right? We wind up kicking the people out who can actually win elections, who can actually get stuff done. It is truly disgusting. And
Oh my
it keeps
god.
happening. It keeps happening. Like you look at the makeup of Congress, they're getting dumber and dumber. Very little college education on the Republican side. It's a lot more, oh, I come from the rural farms and I want to do this and do that. And they already have their mindsets, right? So I think with politics, it's just we need to get back to a place where people are trying to really negotiate. I think that's the
Mhm.
part about politics that's really missing. Nobody wants to sit down and work across the aisle anymore. It's just I'm coming into this with my hard ideas, and that's it. There is no movement, and that's just
It's a us versus them, not a us versus us type of thing.
right. Right, and it's not a us help us. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. It's just too nasty. And then you got to take the money out of politics. There's too much money in it. It's just these corporations that are able to give all this money blindly that we can't see who's
Yeah.
doing it. All this dark money. It's
Give me all that
never
money and I'll make sure to help you out.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's never going to be if we can't hold them accountable, they're not going to stop, and then they're going to keep getting more people who agree with them and who will vote for them. It's just a nasty time to be here. Like honestly, it's very fearful.
You know what's crazy? And I was talking to a buddy about this. In the world, all these military, powers, whether it be Russia, China, Japan, Iran, doesn't matter where it's at, right? They're hiring these people who own IT companies, the CEOs for the IT companies, CEOs of manufacturing companies, and they're hiring them into the military, giving them military status.
Lieutenant Colonel.
Exactly. And now the US is just now doing this. They're just now catching up. So now they're hiring CEOs for these tech companies. And I believe it's like what tier five is there's like
I'm
the
not sure of
fifth
the
where
tier. I'm not
it's like
sure
a
of the
pay.
tier. Really?
Yeah, it's like a pay, and it's like the fifth tier. But basically my buddy was like, you know what? This is the tier where you would retire at. And they're coming in doing the boot camp, going through all that, but then they're automatically officers and making a lot of money and working behind the scenes to help strengthen the military. Right? I think to
Yeah.
myself, dude, that is fucking wild. I wish I had an IT company where I could just be, you know, recruited by the military while still maintaining my business.
Right. And can get a pension from
And you get a pension, and you get rank, right?
yeah.
And it's just wild,
But you think about it, what separates us from Russia now? What separates us from any of the other countries where you have oligarchs, essentially. That's basically
right?
what it is.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is. And it's just, I would honestly love to see how we can reverse this. But unfortunately, I think the hole that's being dug right now, and mind you, we're not even a
Mhm.
year, we are barely 6 months in, man. And
Yeah,
the hole
we're
that
gonna
we are
go.
in is so deep right now. I don't know how we're going to be able to get out of this. Like unless we
No.
win the Congress, unless Congress goes back Democrat. That's honestly that's what I think. That's why they're pushing that bill so
Bro,
hard. That's
it's
why they're
too
pushing
early
that
to
bill
make
so hard.
jokes, man. You can't be doing that.
Yeah,
No,
it's nasty, man. I just
no, no. There needs to be like some type of scandal that goes on. What's that? What's that? It's called scandal, right?
yeah
With Washington,
yeah Kerry Washington. Yeah.
Kerry Washington. Yeah, you know the full name. There needs to be something like that going on, right? Where they're just digging up shit from all these politicians and being like, "You got to change this up. You got to
Yeah,
do that, or else it's going to be exposed, or that's going to be exposed."
you're right. I think there needs to be more strategic planning, and I think that's the problem, right? Like, there's
Hmm.
nobody on the left that is thinking in that way. Like, we need to make sure we can get Roe versus
Yeah.
Wade back. Got to make sure the Civil Rights Act stays in effect, voting rights, things like that. They're
Hmm.
not focused as hard on that as they should be.
They need a motherfucker. That's what they need.
They need
Yeah.
they need somebody who's really gangster. Like you heard about Gavin Newsom, what he's doing, right? So in California, he's
Yo,
suing Fox News for saying that
he is wild. A lot of people hate on him, but he's doing some shit that's turning some eyes.
I like what he's doing. And he's like, look, I'm suing Fox for $787 million, just like Domain Systems did, and I want that money. And I'm not mad at him. Make them feel it in the pocket. They want to sit there and consistently
Absolutely.
lie. Boom.
Fuck him. Fuck
Yeah,
him raw.
facts. Gotta be done, man. Did you hear
No
about that
condom.
that bacteria that China's trying to bring back to Earth? What's
Oh, I thought you said you had a bacteria, bro. I was like, did you get tested already? I was like, bro, wait, you want to stop stream? Can we talk about this?
You are a fool.
Scared the fuck out of me
Yeah.
just now.
Shit scared myself just now. What you talking about? I was like, oh shit, what happened?
But with
Man,
the bacteria from China, I heard about that. Keep it in space. Work it out. Work on that shit on the space station. Why are you going to
we
bring it
just
to Earth?
5 years removed from COVID starting, man. Think about that.
Yeah, they're wild.
5
They're
years.
wild. Why would you? You can just send shit up in space to work on it. And if something happens, you guys will die, but
Right.
it'll be in
It's for
space.
science.
They can use whatever technology they have to push that space station right into oblivion.
Put it into the sun.
Now, what if the sun gets infected and then it comes after us, right?
Right.
The rays just listen. I watch too much TV to even like,
Have you seen Three Body Problem?
huh?
Three Body Problem on Netflix.
I don't have any problems. What do you mean?
So my body don't have the problems. No, so there's a show on Netflix called Three Body Problem, and it's
Okay.
based off a series of novels. But it's a really good show. It's scientific, and it's all about how we actually make contact with aliens after like 30, 40 years, right? And it's a real
Got the
show.
chills thinking about that.
It's real good. And so initially they
Nipples
think that
hard.
the aliens are here just to, basically make contact with us as humans. And the whole
Hmm.
time, the whole question is, what if aliens had a nefarious motive? So it's not just, oh, they're trying to make contact, but what are they really looking for? You got to watch this show. It was good, man.
What? No, the way that you're explaining it makes me not want to fucking watch it. Why would I want to have that in my thoughts? I'm gonna have bad thoughts.
Bro, when I tell you it was really good because again, it's just because honestly, everybody has that fear. What if aliens really are just like, we're gonna wait for the right time to strike and we'll take them out? And we've already seen what y'all have technology wise, how you treat each other as people. No, we know when it's coming. So it's a really good
Yeah.
show because initially it kind of starts off where, hey, we're all cool. It's all great. But how does it
Right.
start to progress? So you got to check it out. It's really, I think it's like 8 episodes,
So
maybe 13, but
I love the saying, "Ignorance is bliss," and I'd rather just be ignorant about that. I'll
mm.
be like, "Oh, they just want to be our friends." Oh, and if I don't think about them, they don't think about me. So
Unfortunately, they thinking about us, whether we want to think about them or
I
not.
think they're thinking about you more so than me. So
I mean, hey, why
I
wouldn't
mean,
they? You know what
I had
I'm
it. Okay, they're gonna open you up and freaking do an anal probe and all that
saying?
shit.
They better leave my anal alone. Leave it alone, man. Stay away.
What is this black anal? It's
Nah,
like a black hole.
no, man.
That sounded Chinese. My
I'll be
bad.
like, I'll send Ace your way. Just leave me out of it.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up actually. If it was me and you running away from an alien, I would trip you.
I was literally about to say I'm tripping you. Like I'm literally tripping you. It's all about who can get away first.
But I'm so much faster than you, so I could just
But
run
honestly,
outrun
you're
you.
not though. Like you're really not. I mean, I might pull a hamstring. I might, but I'm
You
gonna at
might tear
least
your
trouble.
ACL. Actually, you might tear your ACL, and you might be asking for help. I will look back and say, "I will remember you."
You gonna pour
Will
out one
you
for the dead
remember?
homies? You gonna pour out one for the dead homies on?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be like, I'll remember you. Damn, what drink did he like? Ah, fuck it, whatever.
Man, what's that Fast and Furious song that you know what I'm
It's
talking about?
been a
Yeah.
long
God, I hated
day.
that song, man. That song was on so much. I was like, turn this
Yeah, it
damn
was
off,
overplayed.
man. Turn this TV off. But it's funny you
Yeah.
say that because you talking about ACL tears. I'm sure you've been seeing in sports, especially in basketball lately, all these players. I think there were 7 players in this season alone who have had ACL tears. And in the playoffs, it was Damian Lillard,
Shit.
Halliburton, and Jason Tatum. Of course, Halliburton wound up tearing his ACL. For those who don't know, Tyrese Halliburton is on the Indiana Pacers, star player. He was
Most
voted at
underrated.
one point the most overrated, right? And we talked about this, I think. And basically, what they said was that he literally took that at heart and became one of the pivotal players in this
He
series.
fucked people up.
Yeah.
He was doing
And was crazy, think about it, the last game of the season and you tear your ACL. And man,
within like what, a couple minutes.
bro, I was so devastated for him, man.
I felt
So,
so, yeah, when he banged on the floor. All right.
mm,
Yep.
bro, I was hurt for him. You think about because they said he was actually playing on it, messed up for a couple, like it was tender. So I think it was like game 6. He actually knew it was like in danger of tearing. It was really tender, and
He already had like 9 points within the first like 3 to 6 minutes. And they were saying that if he were to stay in the game, Pacers might have won it.
I could believe it. Like they were
I
doing so well.
I actually would have loved that because the
Yeah.
Pacers beat the Knicks. So obviously you don't want
Right.
the the team that
The
beat the Knicks
losing
to
team.
lose because
Exactly.
it makes you feel like you wouldn't be doing shit in the first place. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I agree with that. I just think it was such a horrible way to go out. A horrible way to go out. I
So
mean, and
do
listen,
you,
he went out
yeah,
like a warrior. He went out like a champ. He did what he needed to do. But just to know you're going to be out for the rest of the next season, you think about how long ACL tears take.
yeah.
That's hurtful, man. That is hurtful.
That's
But
really
it just
tough.
brings up the whole idea of like, why is it happening so much now? Like this is the outlier year. Like this has happened more this year than any other year, I believe. And they're saying, is it more NBA games is being played? I know they increased the number of games, right?
I think the season's probably too long, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
And I think that there needs to be better training methods, right? There needs to be better training methods that look at strengthening those areas, strengthening the muscles,
And better recovery too. Better recovery methods.
better recovery, more rest protocols. I know people don't like to see them sitting down or sitting out, but you need to start adding in the bench to start rotating out in games, especially ones that don't really impact, uh, your, I guess, the team as much because you have your division games that you have to win, and then you have the league games. So maybe in the division games you play, them a little harder, and then league games you just kind of sit them out a little bit. But I think that, yeah, I think that they need to rest them more, do training, and maybe cut down the season. And they have that in season championship too, right? And they play hard for that as well.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
they're just doing way too much.
Yeah, who won that in season championship?
I don't even fucking know because it was insignificant.
I
Like
think
what? What?
yeah.
Why is that even a thing?
Man, I gotta look back to see who that was. Maybe it was Minnesota. But yeah, I'm gonna look back to see who could have won that. That's crazy. I just thought about that. But it makes you think about too that how they play the game now. Because now it's very much a faster game. You think about back in the 90s, they weren't running up and down the court all day long, or the early 2000s.
Right.
And I think that this all goes back to the freaking 3-pointer. I think that too many people are chucking up threes, trying to get that next big shot, and so because they're not getting it, now they have to drive it back to the other end of the court. And I think that that is
Mhm.
killing people's endurance, right? Like you running up
It's
and down
fast
these
burst and all
courts.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing small ball now, and I think that that is hurting. I think as good as Steph Curry is, he's an outlier, and unfortunately, teams are trying to replicate that. They're trying to make sure that they don't get caught off guard with a 3-point shooter who can shoot from anywhere on the damn court.
Mhm.
He's truly an outlier, but he's unfortunately made the game worse, in my opinion.
Okay. So going back to why they're getting hurt so much, they're doing too damn much on the court. Trying to, jump over people and do 360 spins, kick flips, and all that stuff. They're doing way too much on the
Nah,
court.
man, they've been doing that for years, bro.
Yeah.
Jordan was doing
Well,
that for years, bro. Jordan was
okay.
doing that. Kobe was doing that.
And they had a shorter season.
Yeah, but that's the key though. It's the shorter season. It's not the style of play. I think it's the fact that
Mhm.
you're running up and down the court, back and forth all game long.
They're playing
You
rugby.
think about now, think about the average score in a lot of these basketball games now. I think it's like 115 110 points a game. Like back in the day, if you got 80 points, 85 points, that was a game. Like that was a strong
Mhm.
game. for both teams. And now we're in this era where if you don't score over 100, you're not really doing all that well. I think that's a problem. That's a big problem, and we see it.
I think it's stupid. And other teams as well, other leagues such as baseball and football have also increased in injuries as well. You got football with the baseball with the Tommy John surgery for pitchers that has been increasing a lot, and that also goes back to rest management as well. A lot of pitchers are ending their season with the Tommy John surgery. Like it's insane. And with football, you're getting a lot of them with also knee injuries, ACL, meniscus, PCL, or Achilles tendon snaps. There's so many injuries that are plaguing these sports, and I think it's probably just extending the season, not making it as exciting because a lot of the times they're pushing their players to do too much and they're not giving them the rest that they need.
Yeah, I agree. It's a big problem, and you got to figure out a way around it. Like because you think about it, it's really so many factors. It's diet, it's health of the players, it's recovery, it's the length of games, it's all these different factors that come into the mix. And of course, if you reduce games, then the NBA is like, okay, that's reduced money, and so we can't offer these huge supermax deals anymore. There's going to be some level of change in how big these contracts start to become. And you think about these teams that just bought these huge as, they bought, for instance, the Lakers got bought for $10 billion.
That's crazy.
So now remember how we were talking about the Celtics and they got bought for $6 billion, right?
Yeah.
Yo, think about
Yeah.
$10 billion, the
Do you know
most
who bought them?
for any team in the world. Like that's crazy. What'd you say?
Do you know who bought them?
I think Magic Johnson's investment group. So the same people that own a part of the Dodgers.
People who own the Dodgers. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild when you think about it now. And now you got players saying, actually, I don't want to continue playing for the Lakers. You got Austin Reeves, who turned down a three-year deal. You got LeBron's son, Ronnie, who also turned down a deal.
You turn on the deal? I didn't hear that.
3 years for like 65 mil, something like that. So, yeah,
Really? I
was
mean,
that
it's
big,
not
but
great, but I
and
mean,
I
no,
guess
it
he
is
feels like
actually when
he's
you were a rookie.
entitled more because he has the last name James. And then LeBron James was like, you know what? I'm not going to
Yeah, he took the
skip out on the
player
player
option.
option.
Yeah,
I'm going to take my $53 million
I
because
think
he's like, yeah, it could be my last year.
I was about to say, I think this is his last year. He's going to retire, and
I think he'll come back once his other son comes into the league. I do think that he'll come back just to play with him, but that's about it.
I don't think he would. I'll tell you why. Because I don't think he wants to mess up his legacy. I don't think he wants to know he's coming off the bench. Like, cause you think about it, at that age, he's not. He's coming in at what 42, 43. Like, there's no way
He
he.
can do it. He's
I mean, listen, if anyone can do it, it's LeBron. If anybody can do it, it's him. But I just don't see him wanting to do it. Like, would he want to do it? Yes, but I think his legacy is a much bigger thing in his mind.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like he's the best player in the world ever.
Oh
Period.
yeah,
But I
that's a
don't know.
fact.
People hate on him because he flops. Man, that man flops like no one's business. There was this. Have you seen the one when he flopped and he had his eyes like this and he's like
Yeah.
he was peeking to see where the ref was at. He was looking around like,
Hold up, but I mean, does that mean you flopped though? I mean, if he was hurt, he was
no, he
hurt, but you
did.
could still look
He was
up.
screaming and then he was like looking with one eye. Where the
You could still look up at the screen though and see what's going on.
no, 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 that was a big flop and everyone knows it. That was wild. He had his hand in his face and then he moved a little bit to see where everyone's at. Like I'm telling you, crazy.
That's funny, man. Well, I guess yeah, I think it would be good to see him play again, but I think that he
Mhm.
knows he needs to go out like a champ. He needs to go out gracefully. You can't go out as an old dude and now start breaking bones and all this stuff. You got to go out the right way. So I think that's what needs to happen.
Yeah,
That's what needs to happen.
absolutely,
What do you think about
absolutely.
have you seen Corey Feldman? It's funny, old dude, man. I remember watching some videos of him trying to mimic Michael Jackson back in the because he used to hang with Michael Jackson all the time.
Yeah.
And I think he said he has an issue with Hollywood's over reliance on AI these days.
Yes. That's crazy. I mean, he wants the art of creating movies and making like storytelling, right? To be the human experience. And I feel like
Can't be mad at that though.
I feel like it's true. We talked about this in our previous podcast about music with AI. And I feel like I'm a big movie person.
Me too.
I I want to see something that's authentic. I want to see something that's like raw and thought of from the human mind, just because how we process things and our creativity is so boundless but also limited compared to AI. AI is just beyond. They can make up things that we wouldn't even thought of, right? And they would create this whole pamphlet on the characters and the setting and where it takes place, etc. And I like that. So I'm all for it. I feel like we shouldn't have AI kind of take the place of, screenwriters and scripters and all that, because it just takes away from the authenticity of it. And I, again, being a huge moviegoer, I mean, I think about this. I went to go watch 28 Years Later, and you know there was a monster with a freaking huge dong in it. And yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, by the way, for 28 Years Later. But yeah, you would never have AI say, hey, let's put in a big monster with a gigantic penis. Who thinks of that, right? Guess what? Humans do. You know what? AI wouldn't do that.
Unfortunately, but like, it's like, what's the point of it?
It's
Like,
okay.
it's like, what's the point of it? I mean, only a dumbass human would think of some shit like that. Like, come on, like, let's be real here. I mean, so
Yo.
what I do like about AI being in show business is it can give you ideas for new things. You can say, "Hey, what hasn't been done before?" Right?
Mhm. Oh,
You
okay.
know
Yeah.
the full history of the movies that have been released. What are some fresh ideas for movies? And then from there, it can give you ideas, and then you can take it with your team, your human team, and create a good plot, a good story, a good script. Cool. But I think that once you start getting it to do all the special effects and all the other things, and you start drowning out the people who are really good at building good CGI and doing all those things, I think that's the problem. Because I see a lot of, AI now where it's still crappy as hell. Like, I think you
Mhm.
said you were trying to upload a picture of yourself to see what your older version will look like, and it didn't look anything like you,
Yo, I look like a freaking, and I have to say it, a fat Middle Eastern dude. Yo, like
right?
I had I had like baggy eyes underneath. It looked like I just looked like I was like Saudi Arabian or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not even a little bit. But I looked so, and I had like those three dots of whatever just sticking out of my face, kind of like how what's that rapper? Who's that LA rapper? Fuck the police.
Ice Cube?
Yep. Ice
Really?
Cube has those little dots right there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's like a part of the skin. You know what I'm saying? It gave me one of those. It gave me mad wrinkles on my face. It made my eyes look tired. My nose was wide. And I'm thinking to myself, yo, that's mad crazy.
I'll be real with you. Honestly, the more I see from AI, the less I'm starting to rely on it. Like, I think AI has been helpful to a degree, but I've been reading a lot now where AI is actually becoming somewhat detrimental to people.
Hmm.
Like, I think at one point it was this novel tool you could use to do certain things, but it's actually becoming sycophantic now, meaning that if you type in something, it doesn't push back on you, it actually agrees with you. So, for instance, you could say, I think I'm the smartest man in the world. And it might say, you know what, that's great that you think that way. You're confident in yourself. And it won't tell you, no, actually, the smartest person in the world lives in in Saudi Arabia somewhere with a 3.99567 GPA or something. Like, it's not going to
Oh
tell
my
you
God.
that. It's going to tell you, oh yeah, that's great that you feel like that. Maybe here's some books you
You
could
are
read to,
smart.
yes. And so I was reading literally today an article about how overuse of ChatGPT is creating mental problems for a lot of people. They're having issues where they're starting now to feel that they have a godlike complex where they can change the world.
God.
And literally, there are people that have literally said their wife had to commit them for a couple of weeks. And it literally didn't take long. It took maybe a 6 week span of time for them to go from completely sane to now having to go into a mental facility because they started
Yeah.
going down a rabbit hole of talking with chat gpt, and they started talking to it, and it's changed, warping their minds slowly but surely. Literally 6 weeks they went from completely sane working people to
That's
this
crazy.
one guy, he was working a great job in tech, whatever the case might be. He started using chat gpt to make him work faster and smarter, and over time, he started having conversations about where the world is going, this, that, and the third. And within six
Hmm.
weeks, he had a mental breakdown. I firmly believe we got to get a hold on this. And honestly, you have to use it for the right things and
Right.
strictly stick to that. Like, some people are
Right.
overusing this thing. and it's making us dumber. Like honestly, ChatGPT is making a lot of us dumber because
Okay,
now it takes the work out of what we do.
I'm not even kidding you. I firmly believe what you're saying, and it's rare, but I agree with you 100%. Um,
Facts. It is
seriously,
rare. It is rare, guys.
I was talking to my buddy, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm talking to this chick, and we're having conversations." I said, "Okay," and he goes, It's just so weird because we'll talk on the phone, and how she talks doesn't match how she texts." I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Okay, so I'm gonna talk to her on the phone." He goes, "Stay quiet." So stay quiet. How's she doing? What are you doing? Just chilling. About to go out and go for a walk. Then maybe shower, like how she's talking, it's whatever. That's a human. But then how she texts, you show me the text. And when I tell you, it is Chat GPT 1,000%, right? You can tell. Chat GPT does the little lines and everything.
Yes. Yep. You know what they
And in
call it?
one
It's a specific
instance,
line. It's called an M dash. That's what it's called.
M dash, thank you,
Yep.
fucking nerd. But then there's a lot of M
I
dashes
am a
on there.
nerd. I am a nerd.
And in one instance, she forgot to delete the quotation mark.
Are you serious?
But at the very end, and
Wow.
And so he called her out on it. He's like, "Watch this. I'm gonna call her out." I was like, call her out." Called her out and was like, "So I have to ask you a question." And she wrote, "Okay," right? Just and mind you, everything else is just fucking long messaging. And he goes, "Do you use ChatGPT to talk to me?" And then, interesting that you asked that. Why would you think I? And like, first off, who responds with "Interesting that you asked that"? So he made up some lie, and he's like,
Is this a girl that he's seen before, like actually spent
he
time
was he
with?
was ta- he's talking to, right?
Okay.
And he's like, I work intimately with ChatGPT. I also run, like, he's making us some shit that he runs an engine, and he goes, I use it intimately, so I know when someone's using it. He goes, may I ask why you're using it? And she goes, a lot of the times when I write things out, she called him, she goes, a lot of times when I write things out, it doesn't match what I'm thinking, so I use ChatGPT to help me clear it up and make it make sense. And I'm like, what the fuck? You're using it to have a casual conversation with the guy you're talking to? That is wild to me. I I can't. I can't.
I mean, but that's just proof that soon. I mean, it boggles my mind because, like, it takes the human. Like, what else would there be a human interaction for? At a certain point, if you're using AI to help you talk to another human,
That's
basically
crazy.
means you have an intermediary between you. Like, that's like me standing right next to you and then having an AI right in the middle, and it's talking to both of us as opposed to just
Tell him I don't like him. I
yeah,
think he's ugly, but say it in a really nice way that doesn't really hurt his feelings. I feel like you need to do a little more workouts. The
right.
gym is very inexpensive, and I know one that we can go do together. By the way, we don't have to do the same workouts. We can do separate rotations.
That it's nasty. It's getting real nasty. Like honestly, I don't. A lot of times, I don't trust necessarily the information that ChatGPT gives. I trust it to a degree. Like, of course, when it comes to statistics and
Building
things,
things out, right?
but when it comes to philosophical things or things that require deeper thought and meaning,
Yeah.
you can't rely on it, bro. Like it's something you have to learn how to use properly. And I think that
General
AI,
information is
yeah,
different.
because if you think
Yeah.
about it, if AI really became sentient, one of the best ways for it to do that is by starting to create these ideas in humans, right? Like where it's like, oh, if you just do this one thing, this can happen
Oh
and
my
that can
god.
happen. Like, so we got to be very careful how we use this stuff, and it's getting really, it's getting dicey. It's
I
getting
mean,
dicey.
dude, there's Instagram, there's Instagram Reels, there's YouTube videos that show a person talking, but they're
Interviews, the street
AI.
interviews.
Or just anything. Like, for example, someone was like, "Oh my God, did you see this landslide?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" So it's of people walking up a side of a mountain, and then it just crumbles, and people are falling, and they're screaming. And she goes, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "That's fake." And I zoomed in, and on one of them, this person's leg all of a sudden just become like fucking huge, and it starts to twerk. And while it's going down, I'm like, "That's." And then people are just standing there and continuously walking. They will be screaming.
Right.
People will be on the floor. They'll be screaming. There will not be like just doing random shit. They'll be twerking
Yep.
on the fucking thing that I saw. They were just watching, and they were continuously walking as it's falling down. People are still walking as if it's like,
Like it didn't
you
even
know what I'm saying?
happen.
There's
Like it
no
didn't even
gravity.
happen.
Yo, and there's that, but then there's also the influential ones. So like, if you're listening to this right now, put your phone down and really think about these things, and then it transforms into like You need to focus on one, two,
Yes.
three.
Yeah.
Those things, I'm like, yo, you're giving them expression. There's expression. There's at the eyes. You can see the inside of the mouth when they're talking. Everything. And I'm like,
I'm not
yo,
trusting a lot of the stuff that's on social media, man. You have to have a keen eye to know when AI is involved. Like you and I, we could tell, right? We can look at certain things like, oh, that mouth isn't real. You
I
know,
don't know if your mouth is real, bro. Your eyes or your hair. I don't even know if I don't know if your hair is real.
Yeah, I know, right? Let me see if I can brush it out real quick. Maybe I can, wipe it off. No, I can't, I
Sure.
guess. But
Okay, whatever.
don't be mad. Don't be mad.
Whatever.
No,
I don't care.
but yeah, it's really one of those things. Again, you just have to be aware. And if you're getting your information from Facebook, if you're getting it from Twitter, if you're getting it from anywhere that's not a legitimate news source, be very careful of what you're viewing because
Yep.
it is honestly anybody can create anything, and that's the scary part. Back in the
Yeah.
day, newspapers, you had an editor in chief. You had somebody who literally sat down and said, "Okay, you don't have enough facts to put this article out. We're not putting it out." And it didn't go out. But now you have IG, you have TikTok, you could just get on there and record yourself talking some bullshit and
Yeah.
it can go. And it's sad that we're at this place, but you have to be diligent. You have to watch out for this stuff.
Like you just said, there used to be an editor in chief, there used to be writers, and now there's just a dumbass in his bedroom jerking off with a pizza.
I'll be real. There's sometimes even where I can tell certain articles I read that they use ChatGPT. Like I see those M dashes. I'll see like those
Right.
long that I'll
M
see,
dash.
or what they say about ChatGPT. What you can tell is it'll say this isn't just this, it's this, or like you're not just living your life, you're living your dreams. Like
Certain cadences. Yeah.
you've seen that, right? And so again, it's just about being aware, like really making sure. So honestly, a lot of times, not even though I know I could use it, I use it for specific things only. Give me the information that I can't find myself. Look for, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and then otherwise, I'm going to create my writing. I'm going to do it in the way I speak, even though it might take me longer.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it my way because then I'll feel like it's real genuine.
And there's a guy who created open source, and what's his name? Young, but he's currently working for Facebook. Zuckerberg hired him because he's apparently the person who looks through everything when it comes to AI and ChatGPT. He creates the program for them. I can't tell what's his name. Hold on. Yeah, man. Facebook now hired this kid.
Yeah, I think I know. I didn't read the article, but I saw something.
Yo, wild. He got offered what was it? I think it was like 50 million or some $55 million to go to Facebook or something. It's
That
wild,
is
dude. I'm thinking to
crazy.
myself,
Can you imagine?
all you need to you need to give me some of that, bro. Like that ass. And this person's not even he's not even in magazines, he's not even out there. He's living a quiet
But
life,
he's the type of
quiet
guy
money.
that literally has a PhD. He's probably like 20 years old, has a PhD, did his dissertation, and got seen at Oxford University or something like that. And they scooped him up. He's like, this is the guy. This is him.
And you know what's even crazier is that there are jobs that put it on their application. They were like, hey, you know what? Tell us why. And they make it mandatory. Tell us why you chose this business. And I was seeing a few of it on Google because they were giving examples. And they said, tell us why. And they said, don't use ChatGPT.
Yes.
We can tell. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how could you tell that?
You can tell.
It's probably the M dash. It's probably because of the M dash. Yeah.
I
Fucking
put you on to
posh
something, right?
ass
Yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah.
M dash.
Yes.
Digital dash. Yeah.
It's spelled dash. So like
Okay.
if you ever need to tell anybody.
I don't give a fuck. Let's go.
See what happens when people learn something now they get mad. Don't do that.
Is it EM M dash dash or is it just
No, it's
EM?
just EMDASH and dash. All right. This guy, I swear, man. You try to
Whatever.
help some people sometimes they just don't want it. It's okay. It's all right, man.
I wish we are together when the aliens invade, so that way I can just outrun your ass and say deuces, bro.
I'm gonna be like
But
this. I'm gonna be right behind you.
you know, they're gonna catch me. I'm gonna be like, damn it,
They're like, what
they
happened?
got me
I'm like,
too.
no.
Oh my god. Why'd they catch you? You're supposed to tell my story, motherfucker.
Oh, man. So you watching anything good this week? What's going on?
Oh man. So Sandman's good. New season of Sandman's coming out. It's on Netflix. One of my favorite shows actually. I love the I love the story, love what it's about. I love the imagery and how everything's planning out. So I'm looking forward to the next season. And if people don't know what it's about, Sandman's about this entity, this being who gets trapped by a human, and people are in this deep sleep because the Sandman is all about dreams and nightmares and such. And because he's now trapped, people are in this endless sleep cycle. They're not waking up for all these years, and chaos happens in his realm. And there's, these other entities such as Satan and Cupid and etc. But it's really awesomely put and narrated, and the story is very clean. I would just say watch it, give it a try. Sandman's pretty good. But I'm also watching a lot of anime too, which you know nothing about.
They're not much. I used to watch some anime when I was in high school.
Okay, bro. Okay, all right. Were you trying to say you have to be young to watch
No, no, no.
anime?
I used to watch like the Street Fighter series, like the Street Fighter movie. That anime that was fire. Fist of Fury, crazy. There's certain things that I did like.
Fighter.
Yeah, Street Fighter was. Yeah, did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, I saw the movie. The movie was sick.
Akira.
Jean Claude Van Damme.
No, I'm talking about the actual anime. There's an anime Street Fighter.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I did see
Yeah,
it.
that one's really good. I was about to say to you. So yeah, that and
What about you?
so I'm
What about?
watching this show called The Agency on Showtime.
Is it good?
Yeah, this show is really good, man. It's basically this operative, this spy. He's
Right.
away. He winds up, having a love interest while he's on mission, and they all of a sudden call him back.
Stupid.
Yeah, they all of a sudden call him back into into the agency. Well, not the agency, but to his office where he was. He was overseas. They call him back. So he's like, "Why did y'all call me back after 6 years?" And then it turns out it's actually a larger like plot. It's a really good show, man. Like, and it really gets
Looks good.
into how spies think. How, like, for instance, let's say you're a trained fighter, right? Let's
Right.
because every clandestine spy is trained to fight and defend themselves. But let's say you get jumped or you get attacked, you have to literally have ways in which you can defend yourself without making it look like you're a trained fighter. So they don't just train to train you how to kill, they also train you how to fake it like you're just a regular person. So yeah,
Wow.
it's a lot of like trade craft and the way they kind of do different things, how to evade people following you and stuff. Like, it's really good, man. Check it out if you can. It's a dope show.
Hmm.
And I'm watching The Bear
Okay.
season 1, season 4 just came out, so I got to catch up on that.
I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, that's a really good show, man. And then there's this show called Countdown on Prime that I'm going to put some time into. It kind of gives me like 24 vibes a little bit. So I want to
Countdown.
see, yeah, I want to see what that is about. I'm going to try
Okay.
to check out the episode maybe tonight before I go to sleep.
I'm
Yeah,
down for that. I like that. I like things like that.
yeah, I love spy shit. I love all that type of stuff.
For me, there's a new anime that just came out. It's called Lord of Mysteries. And the story is kind of unique so far. There's only 2 episodes, but the graphics is fucking insane. I mean,
That's one thing as an artist, I do love animation. Like, if it's the right type of animation,
yeah,
man, I have all the support for it. I think that's dope.
yeah,
What's the
that's
name
my
of it?
jam right now. It's called Lord of Mysteries. Lord of Mysteries.
You might have to forward it to me, and I'll take a look.
Yeah,
I'll take a look.
yeah. The main character was doing a workout, lost 17 pounds, and it was great.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, they lost 17 pounds and
Yeah.
looking sharp, but
Sounds
they're
very
like,
familiar.
I can't get too skinny.
Sounds pretty familiar, man. Yeah. Okay.
I was like, damn, that's it. No, so I need to lose weight. So I don't know. Last like 2 weeks ago, I went to the doctors and weighed myself, and I'm 228.
You 228?
Shut up, you fucking asshole.
So yeah.
An asshole.
Man. Yo.
Okay, all right,
Okay. All right.
yeah, but it was weird. Actually, it was on Juneteenth
All
when
right.
that happened.
Okay.
Okay, but real quick, but I need to tell you this quick story. When I went into this doctor's office, there's 2 older white ladies as receptionists. I come in, it's 8 o'clock, and I get the information. I have to fill some shit out. So I'm sitting down, filling some shit out for my doctor's visit. This dude came in, older white guy. He went up there and he was like, "I'll take a double double with no cheese," right? Acting cute. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, older guy. That's kind of
Nice.
nice. Whatever. Yeah, whatever." And he's like, "I'm here to see the doctor." Like, okay, take a seat. He sits down and he goes, "Oh man, it's pretty barren out there." He goes, "No one's on the road." And then the lady goes, "Yeah, it's a holiday." And he goes, "Oh, what holiday is it?" She goes, "It's Juneteenth." And the way she said it was like, I'm just saying it because I know it, not because I know of it, right?
Right.
And I caught on, but I was like, just ignore, fill out this paperwork, cool. And he goes, "What is that? What type of holiday is that?" And she goes, "I don't know." And she looks over and she says the name of her colleague. She goes, "Do you know?" She goes, "No, I don't know either." And she goes, "Okay, oh, that's weird. Well, it's a holiday." And she goes, "So apparently it's the day that they abolished slavery." And he goes, "Oh, good, 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 good." And I look up slowly and I'm looking at the guy like, weird. And as he's saying good, he's shaking his head and he looks down and he does a little tap on his legs and he slowly looks at me. And I said, "Nope." And he goes, "I'm going to go for a walk." You're like, 15 minutes? And they're like, "Yeah, he'll call you back in 15 minutes." So he gets up and goes for a walk. So it gets better. I gave them my paperwork and everything. And I was like, "Here you go." She goes, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know that." I was like, you don't even have to apologize to me. Like, I like, just, you could just stop." She goes, "Oh, I just feel so bad." I'm like, can you just stop? Like, it's fine. It's not a big deal." I sit down and I'm like, "God damn it, I feel so fucking uncomfortable." So they call me up and I'm like, "Okay, great." As I'm passing by, she looks at me and she goes, "Okay, thank you." And I'm like, "What the fuck is this shit? Like, what is going on, dude?" So I get back there and I'm sitting down having a lot of time to myself, thinking to myself, "Okay, this is fucking weird." And I had to wait back there for 1 hour before my
Wow.
doctor actually came in. So that was my doctor's visit, and obviously I'm very healthy. My balls are healthy. My body's healthy.
Don't really
All
care.
good.
I don't really care.
I was talking to the audience, asshole. Just because you're not healthy and you have some type of fucking
Not my
germ
concern.
that they brought back from space, okay. But
I am clean and healthy as a whistle, man. I'm straight over here.
so he says,
I'm straight at 6 o'clock, man. I'm good. We good over here. But nah, man, great podcast today, my brother.
"Do you
You
have
have
any
any fun
fun
facts? Yeah,
facts?"
man. Look at you.
Jinx, you owe me
I
a
know.
soda.
Yo, you got me. All right, you got me. So check this out. I actually got one that's pretty cool. The rain smell. So you know how like after it rains and it's fresh and you smell it, you could tell it's rained
Okay.
outside. There's actually a name
Yes.
for it. It's called petrichor. And so it's caused by plant oils and a compound that is released by soil dwelling bacteria. So basically
Hmm,
you're sniffing the earth's cologne.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
The Earth's cologne. That's actually pretty sick. Not gonna lie.
Pretty cool, man.
I do like the scent of fresh cut grass.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's a really nice scent.
I no, that's
Pretty
fun.
cool, huh?
Kind of boring, but pretty fun.
I
No
mean,
one's judging.
not everything could be a toilet joke. So, what can I say?
I actually talking about a toilet joke.
There we go.
No, I'm kidding. So the owner of a Detroit car wash who recently passed away had a helicopter drop thousands of dollars onto people in his city as his last dying wish.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
The owner of a Detroit car wash. That's pretty bomb.
That is very
I'm not gonna
bomb.
lie.
You don't really see a lot of that these days.
Yeah, it's on the east side of Detroit. Money is thrown out of a helicopter.
Wow.
So
Okay, salute to him, man. Even in
yeah,
death, people still try to hold on to all their money. They don't. They're like, no, nobody else is getting it but me.
yeah, right. I mean, that's like the only thing that can. That's like the only good thing that ever came out of Detroit. So yeah,
Man, come on. Entire car industry, man. Great stuff. But now these days, honestly, I
Getting
hear
fucking
Detroit is
pissed.
actually a really good place to visit too.
Yeah, and I heard the women in Detroit are.
Yeah, I hear it's a good look out there. I hear it's a good look.
Mhm,
No. Oh, everybody, thanks a lot. We really appreciate you for joining us today. And yeah, we'll be back next week, same time, same channel. Peace out.
absolutely. See
Later.
you.